Welcome to Conversations about Scale. Welcome to the Sanitation at Scale series. My name is Venu Gupta and I'm the director of the Accelerator program at Toilet Board Coalition. We are kicking off the series today with one of our illustrious Accelerator alumni, Mayank, who's the founder and CEO of Gov Toilets. Every day, 200,000 users visit Gulf toilets. Is that true, Ben? And 25,000 children through the Gulf toilet installations in school. And so I think that's been a wonderful journey of growth since 2018 when Gulf was part of our accelerator program, and now I think the growth has been, I would say, about 4 times or 5 times in terms of revenue and in terms of operations, etc. So today we really want to understand from Mayank on what does it take to scale. What have been some of the experiences on while during this scale journey, etc., and to shed some light on what are the challenges faced during the scale up. So, welcome, Mayank, and looking forward to having this conversation with you. Uh,
Thank you.
what, how do we, what are the changes that the organization goes through while it is scaling? What are the things that surprised you in the last 2 or 3 years? What are some of those things, and then what were some of those learnings during the course of scale journey?
Right. Thank you so much, Venu, for that kind introduction and for having me here. And I think to start with, so when we enter into a space which is new and which is emerging as such, it is quite challenging, and there are a lot of dynamics at play. And especially when we are dealing in sanitation, so to say, we when we started, we knew that anyways we are going to have to deal with the government bodies if it has to scale. And government bodies, in the sense, it could have been our customer, or it could have been a channel partner for us. So it could have been at play in any sense as such. So we were very sure that if Gulf Toilets has to scale, the government has to play its part there, obviously, because it is one of the biggest stakeholder. And public toilets and community toilets that we were targeting were basically, obviously considered even today as public conveniences, and a segment that the government has to take care of. Um, so right when we started, in 2015, when we introduced the prototypes and we were doing the pilots, it was uh, it was quite challenging. Definitely, I would not say that it was not challenging. The first 2.5 years definitely were quite challenging for us to kind of have have to convince the stakeholders, the decision makers who are in this space to know to kind of have to basically get them to agree that this kind of a model would work in India. So essentially, our models are prefabricated, vandal-proof models, which are obviously integrated with new age technologies like IoT and real-time sensors to track data out of the toilets, and to track user hygiene, and to also track malfunctions. So we were trying to target the few issues that were plaguing the public toilets landscape as such. And so just to convince the decision makers that this kind of toilet would work in India, and especially the developing economies, was really tough for us. And to start with, we were, obviously, being a startup, we were a small team, and just to keep on knocking on the doors of different government players or different NGO partners to kind of convince them that this is a model that works, and this has been working for some time through the pilots that we did. So that was the most challenging part. And I think to s- just about the time when we introduced these toilets on the ground with some of the NGO projects or CSR partnerships, um, the things started to turn for us. When people were seeing that these are the new kind of toilets that have hit the ground, and we, there was quite a positive response, even to the basic toilets, where the basic toilets, in the sense that they were only steel prefabricated toilets and not the smart automated toilets. Those, even those toilets were getting a lot of positive feedback from one of the most backward states in India as such. And so I think that was quite a positive thing for us. Parallelly, while we were introducing, we were also a part of the lot of accelerator programs,
Mm,
to start with, a lot of competitions. And while this product was being introduced, while we were knocking on the doors of a lot of stakeholders,
mm,
um, we again got a lot of positive feedback from these competitions, the accelerator programs. And that is where we actually got to know that, this idea could work and it
mm.
has some meat in it. And
Yeah.
that is why it is getting the appreciation from this segment and, from the key players in this space. And so yeah, so I think that was one of the aspects that was quite encouraging for us as such. Um,
And
yeah.
so I think that's an interesting point, which is that even though your product is superior to what is available at the moment, even then, it's a journey of convincing people to adopt this new technology, this new innovation, convincing people to sort of give that, give it a thought and then, implement. I think that's a very interesting point. Also, organizationally, I mean, you are now a team of 36.
Yes.
And so, how did that, what were the challenges in growing the team? I mean, the time that you're talking about, 2015, must be 4 or 5 people at that time, or
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, even the team of 4 or 5 that we had in 2015, even out of those, some of the colleagues that we had were kind of, helping us voluntarily. And because like three of us started, and we felt that this is going to work. And
Hmm.
we got some outside support in terms of, a lot of volunteers, some interns joining us. Um, so to say, I mean, sanitation has, there is a yuck factor that is associated with toilets, and toilets as a business as such.
Yeah,
And
it's not a
so
sexy business.
yeah, so that is what we wanted to change actually. From being a yucky space to, a funky space. So
Hmm.
that is what we wanted to change actually. And
Hmm.
so yeah, I think it was quite challenging for us to attract talent at that point of time. And I guess yes, it was quite a struggle to have good quality team members to our team. Adding them to our team and attracting them to work for us. It was quite challenging, and I keep on saying this, that I have been lucky, so to say, in the sense
Hmm.
that, by the time we started to hit the ground with some of the projects, with the, CSR partnerships, people started to, some of my friends, some of my ex colleagues, they started to, connect with me, because I used to, share a lot on the social media, and I still do, about the updates of Gulf Toilets and what Gulf Toilets is doing. So I think a lot of my friends, ex colleagues, started to reach out to me that you're doing a great job, and how we can be a part of it. They still, a lot of them still reach out. And
Hmm.
some of those eventually, joined Gulf Toilets, leaving companies like TCS, the Tata Consultancy Services, and having experience of about 14 years there, and jumping the ship there, and joining a sanitation company as such, uh, from a big software consultancy firm to a sanitation firm. So
Hmm.
so that is something that was exciting. And it is still happening. So I think even today, the core team members that we have today, in the management team, are some of the people who have been associated with me in some form or the other. Like they've been ex-colleagues, they've been friends, and batchmates from my college. So they have joined us, and that is what we need to kind of grow this space and to grow in this space actually. So you need passionate people who want to work in this space actually. So
Mm.
that is a transition we have seen that is happening, and they have worked wonders for us in terms
Mm.
of the growth that we have achieved.
Yeah. Excellent. So, what do you look for in the management team? I mean, what are some of the qualities that you look for potential co-founder or in a management team, which is going to lead the next phase of growth or lead the scale journey?
I think it might sound very cliche, but what I have observed from my experience is that people who have helped us grow, like I just mentioned,
Mm.
are the people who are really attracted towards working this space in this space actually. So who want to make a change in the society, and who want to work in a space which is which is unconventional. That
Mm.
is so, and that is what they've seen that we have been trying to change things on the ground, and they've seen
Mm.
that this is the space that would make some impact to the lives of the people as well. Obviously it is a business, but it is creating social impact as well. And when we go on the ground and see how it has been able to make a lot of difference to the lives of the people that use our toilets every day, um, I think that feeling makes a lot of difference to each and every team member that we have with us today.
Mm.
Um, so I think again cliche, but passion really matters. Passion in the sense to kind of create, to be able to create a impact on ground, and people who want to work in this space definitely
In
get
this space.
attracted to it. Yeah.
So, if I were to ask you in these last, let's say, 2, 3 years, you're going to hit probably the $1 million revenue mark very soon, or maybe more. uh, in terms of revenue. In the last 2 or 3 years, what have been either one or two those key learnings this journey of the last 2 years?
So we've already hit that mark as of today, and in terms of revenues and learning, I would say innovation definitely matters. And if that is what I can say, that you have to be at it as a company, as an organization. You have to breed innovation, and
Mm.
so what that is what we have been doing right from the start. And I keep telling this to a lot of people that we were ahead of the times in 2015 when we were promoting touchless technologies and real integrating real time sensors onto the toilets. And so we wanted to fetch data out of the toilets in terms of malfunctions and in terms of user behavior, how users are managing their hygiene. Um, so and in times like today, in the pandemic times, it is all the more important to a lot of people are talking about touchless technologies, fetching hygiene data out of the toilets and getting to know the user behaviors. So I keep telling that, and even in to counter COVID, recently during the lockdown phases, we worked. We tried to work around a few technologies that we were hearing a lot of things from the ground that the public toilet spaces in the slum area, especially, are the hotbed of infection spread. And
Mm.
that is obviously because of the fact that many public toilets do not get maintained properly. And although we were already having our automated systems for self cleaning toilets,
Mm.
we thought that what could be the best you know measure that we can adopt to kind of stop this while people use our toilets, even though our toilets are like self cleaning, but still, how can we negate a few things? So that we tried a few things. um, Ultimately what we integrated onto our toilets was an automated UV sanitization feature. It is the
Mm.
ultraviolet lights which were fitted inside the toilets. And the function, really, the logic is that once the user is done using the toilet and they are out, so before the next user enters, the toilet will lock itself and the toilets will get sanitized through UV lights. just in case if there are any lurking bacteria or virus carriers, they can be negated inside the toilet
Mm.
itself. So I think when we introduced it during the lockdown phase, and once the lockdown was lifted, we started to bundle this feature into all the toilets, that automated toilets that were being sent to the market. um, and that worked wonders for us, and that is still getting sold like hotcakes. So so the government was really appreciative of the new feature. The people were, a lot of people were facing issues with respect to infection spread inside the slum areas or densely populated areas. It is definitely one of the things that has worked wonders. So innovation definitely matters. Second, I guess, learning that I would mention is that we have come to realize that we try to innovate a lot around the business model. Uh, how what is the best business model to go ahead with in the space that we are working with. And I think you helped us a lot while we were at the accelerator program to kind of streamline various aspects of the business model that we are trying to create, and that also worked really well for us. And we have also come to realize that plain vanilla PPP models will not probably work if we are talking about working with urban local bodies, so to say. Um, so obviously, hybrid annuity models could work, which would be a combination of EPC and BOT models. If we are trying to create a smart sanitation center, uh, you know the government obviously is a stakeholder, so they would also have to put in some funding for the project to be a success. You cannot just leave it to a private player to arrange all the funding, and for capital setup, equipment setup, and also to operate and maintain and recover all those costs. So that that requires a lot of inputs from one player. So that would not work probably. It could work with the quasi government bodies, like
Mm.
we have initiated projects with the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation.
Yeah.
So it could work there where the revenue generation opportunities are good. But
Mm.
with the urban local bodies, there are a lot of issues on the ground that
Mm.
would create hurdles in picking up these projects as such. So these are two key learning areas for us as of now.
Innovation and business models that rely on effective financing
Exactly.
structures as well.
Yeah.
Mm. So, so as we look forward to the next 2 years, 3 years, what is it that you need in terms of support? What is it that an enterprise like GERV needs to be in the ecosystem or needs direct support with? What are some of the things on your shopping list as you try to scale further?
I think, Vinu, it has been pointed out quite clearly that the opportunity is huge, and
Mm.
you know, and we see it on the ground that there are so many segments that we can actually target,
Mm.
but we are not able to do that obviously because of the constraints that we have in terms of the team sizes and in terms of the funding. As a company, we have been largely funded by the family friends. Just last year we raised the seed round with the IIT Kanpur, and
Mm.
so that is one aspect that we look at, that in order to expand and in order to target a lot of the segments that are open to have our products, and to where we can have multiple thousands of installations, and probably create a franchisee model around it as well. To try those aspects, obviously funding is one of the, at this point of time, is one of the biggest thing that we would definitely are looking at
Mm.
to raise funds at this point of time. And obviously I think we've graduated from the accelerator programs, and we have come to know that what what is the what are the main aspects that the business should focus on. So obviously advisory boards are a few, we are looking at creating advisory boards and members who could mentor us while we grow. So, so yeah, those are the two things I think at this point of time that we are looking at.
Yeah, investment and the organization. So building
Yes.
capabilities within the organization.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. Anything you want to discuss, Mayank, about scale, about sanitation at scale? Any thoughts, any questions?
Yes. I think so. There are a lot of opportunities for various players in this space, and even we would like, while going ahead, we would also like to kind of create a space where we are doing forward integration and backward integration in terms of the products or services that we are providing.
Mhm.
Um, So what do you see in terms of, a lot of other players doing in this space, which is exciting, and in terms of how they are trying to provide various services from just one organization service perspective, basically. So what do you see there? What are the
Yeah,
exciting
no,
things?
I think that there's a lot of innovation happening in sanitation. As you probably aware of. I think the innovation is definitely at the product level, like in your case, the smart, touchless, automated toilet now with the UV protection as well. We are also seeing some innovation on the business model side. So this year, we've seen, business models, sanitation business models integrating with livelihood models. So Accelerity in Peru as well as in India, they're looking at integrating their sanitation center or the toilet sales model with micro entrepreneurs on the ground.
Right.
Not only do they have a good understanding of local communities, they are also able to become the last mile for logistics, for sales and distribution. So I think we are seeing some innovation, multi-tiered innovation rather. I mean, it's not just on the product level or the service level. It's also on the business model level, on the distribution level, etc. And I think that that kind of that points towards the fact that business approaches to sanitation are maturing now. There is no longer the fragility, there is no longer the sort of nervousness around building a business in sanitation. I think sanitation businesses are becoming more confident, more mature, trying out new models. They are signaling that they are here to stay, and so they are looking at different modes of growth.
Right.
So I think the commitment and the conviction is really increasing by leaps and bounds.
Great. Having understood that, I think, yeah, trying different models and trying to, work around a multi-tiered innovation, as you mentioned, that I think it requires a lot of effort and requires a lot of resources as well.
Hmm.
So do you see, what are the kind of support mechanisms that are being developed in terms of, innovative funding mechanisms?
Hmm.
We keep on hearing a lot about, new kind of funding that could be, social impact funding, social impact linked funding that could come in. We There's a lot of buzz around it, but is it really,
Hmm.
hitting the ground? What's being happening around that space?
Yeah, I think on the investment side, the demand side was always very healthy. But I think on the supply side, two or three shifts are clearly visible. One is that investors and SMEs are now understanding each other with much more clarity. Earlier, I would say just 2 years back or 3 years back, I think that there was some sort of gap in the understanding at both sides. But I think that they're becoming more familiar now of the challenges faced by each other. I think the other shift that's also happening is that grants and donors and philanthropic capital, philanthropic money or funding is increasingly looking at how that money can be used in a catalytic way.
Right.
How can that money be used to seed a business model or to support a business model so that the business can support on its own, can sustain, on its own. And I think that's quite healthy because if you look at the large number of sanitation SMEs, they're still, I would say, a step away from commercial capital, a step away from unlocking commercial capital. And these catalytic funding opportunities can put them there at the threshold of being able to attract commercial capital. And then finally, I think more confidence. Investors are looking at sanitation. Investors who were earlier working in the allied fields like agriculture, renewable energy, health, etc. Now they're looking at sanitation, and the feeling is that unless sanitation opportunities are addressed, that some of the other linkages to health and renewable energy and agriculture might not be able to realize the full potential. And so I think it is becoming important in the agenda for investors. And there are many, many different investment products uh, being designed. So we'll see a lot more activity in the months and years.
Cool. That's good to hear, actually. And I think you made a really important point that unless sanitation gets addressed, then there are a lot of issues that won't get addressed eventually.
Yeah,
So that's really an important point. It is at the core of it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so yeah, that's true.
Excellent. Well, Mayank, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and we are
Same here.
hoping that we will have similar conversations through the year,
Right.
through 2020, whatever is left of it, and 2021.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of these conversations is to together think, in terms of what is needed to scale,
Right.
how can we get more enterprises to scale. And sanitation, like you mentioned, is a unique opportunity, is a vast market.
Yeah.
And as we have discovered, I think there are some really, really unique characteristics to the sanitation sector
Right.
that can really unlock scale quite rapidly. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Mayank, and look forward to continuing these conversations. Thank you to all of you as well, and good luck.
Thank you, Venu. Bye bye.
Thanks.
Take
Bye.
care.